Whatever your decision, realize that there are only two choices. One choice is good and one choice is evil. Since I can only speak on the personal experience and testimony, let me be exact in my words. One night in December of 2010, I was visited by a very bright presence following prayer. I couldn't believe what was happening. The light of an unearthly presence filled my bedroom as I hit the floor, and the energy of the Spirit's presence warmed my body, and I felt like what I would call a memory, not of this world. My entire body felt motionless, filled with joy, fear, and energy all at the same time. The energy was so powerful I found it difficult to do anything but remain in absolute silence and awe. The Spirit of light began to speak. It told me I had a task, which was asked of me from the highest level. The light was so bright it burned my eyes at first. As my eyes began to adjust, I looked onto the figure. In my mind, I had a question which was answered before I could speak. Another bright figure appeared from behind the first one. It came forward and introduced itself. The voice was powerful and seemingly inconceivable at first, although I understood it. It said in a voice sounding like an electric current entering my soul, "I am Gabriel. This is truth. You have been chosen before birth, known to us before this world, and this is your task. The one who stands beside me will guide you and will be with you always. Listen to this angel's guidance. It is drawn from the will of what is to come from God and is for the faithful. We are always with you, always, as protectors of chosen people, as it be in you." The angel Gabriel vanished in a brighter light than before, which appeared from the rear of him. Shortly after, the voice of the first angel continued as his light faded away. The voice continued, "I'm here to continue to prepare you for what is to come. There will be great destruction on this earth. There will be great violence, and people will be evil to each other. Do not take into this evil. You have power to see the difference, as do all the faithful. I will show you what is to take place." Instantly, I began to see the future. It was like flying above it all, into it, through it, and back again. I saw myself fly onto a platform in front of an army of people who were watching me speak. It seemed like I was in the Middle East. I was beside a woman with a child, overlooking the people, when the valley became empty and the light came out of the sky. I immediately transitioned what seemed in my heart to be what had happened up to this point. I began to see volcanoes erupting. There was chaos in the street. People were being evil to each other. There was no electricity. The sounds of gunshots rang through the air as the hum of silence continued, like a power outage. No traffic, no buzzing, like it sounds when you are alone in the silence of nature. I could hear only what was happening as I watched from the street corner, as I was invisible to all around me. I saw lifeless bodies lay in the street. All around as looters smashed windows, taking merchandise from abandoned stores. People fought openly with each other, and you could see the looks on people's faces. Nobody was together. Every person was to themselves. The ones who were not committing violence held themselves in fear. It was survival. They fought to protect themselves. Everything was in chaos. There were no signs of birds or animals. There were, however, gray figures standing behind and besides the evil perpetrators as they did what they were being guided by them, the dead souls. I saw burning rocks coming out of the sky around the city and people watching from balconies and windows as the evil erupted on the streets. I was then flown to another spot in a multitude of churches. The entire sky was red and black as I saw it from the flight transitioning from the city center to these churches. I saw gray figures all over the ground, like insects swarming the land. The reason the sky was so dark was from the volcanic clouds which were beginning to block the sun. I could see them vividly coming out of the volcanoes from above as they blew towards the sunlight. When I arrived inside the churches, I saw confusion, people wanting redemption, people sleeping on pews by candlelight. Meal lines and soups were prepared, and food was rationed. There was fighting inside all of them, crying and prayers. It was the same situation in every church. They were full to the doors, with people fighting outside to get in, holding off the lines in the crowds of the people at their barricaded doors. They didn't see they wouldn't be saved there. Regardless of their faith and interactions, it was too late. God had guided the people he wanted to save. I then was transitioned in the mountains where I saw chaos and animals desperately running around for safety. People were also fighting each other out of fear. The animals were also attacking people between the trees as I looked into the red horizon of ash and fires. An earthquake happened then, and I could see the waters and the waves coming from the distance, birds flocking overhead. The sounds of the mountains from all the animals was petrified, as you could hear the chaos and the fear erupt. Birds were in huge flocks overhead and were running into each other, falling out of the sky from the ash. The land began to shift, and the valleys between the mountains were filling with rivers of destruction. I watched as the waters passed, filled with destruction, dead bodies washing between the debris. You cannot survive in the mountains. It became dark, and the noises raged on as the rain began. It continued to be dark for 40 days, and the sun shifted position through the clouds of ash, and the rain ran into the rivers and killed many who survived the initial tragedy. You couldn't drink rainwater, water from creeks or ponds. There was a mass sickness from the decay surrounding the living and no place to put it. Insects came out of the earth to eat the decay and spread disease. Flies were covering the living from head to toes, mosquitoes coming from the soup of stagnant water surrounding those in the mountains, who were trapped by the waters no vessel could surpass. As the clouds cleared, this continued. I was flown away from the terrible mountains into a place like a camp, being led by a terrible person who had enslaved his people. He provided for them, but let them destroy each other. He raised an army and was going to invade the others, only because he wanted the area and wanted to destroy them. The angel brought me back into the current. I had seen this was all to take place, but cannot say for now. He continued to tell me that there was more to come, saying the churches must unite against the evil this army would bring. People guided by their own hearts would follow, not in the name of their religions, but out of faith in God and the signs that they will see. We must live by these three principles: love God, love others, and love yourself. If you're guided by these principles, you will survive what is to come. You must be genuine to your heart and spirit of what you know is right, and not by falseness of what you think others see. God knows, you know, and evil knows. Since evil knows, it will use its force against you to destroy you internally. Be warned. The first seal. When we began this struggle, we divided ourselves through greed. The motivation of greed is formed through the same sense of control. The devil created this form of control in direct retaliation from God after being placed on this earth. The devil wants this plan to fail and wishes to destroy us, which is why he created this lie. God created this earth for us all, and we share it as such. If the devil created a lie to tell us, it would say that without the other, we own everything on this earth, and it would be ours. The earth belongs to us all, and to all it is created. Love all on the earth, for we have all been given the gift of each other and the power to create through the power of love. Since we all have this power, we cannot be jealous of one another, nor remove it from differences in the form of greed and control. This is the first seal. Be at peace regardless of what you call your religion, name, state, country, political interest. We have all been created in equal power, and our spirits are not limited through physical structure or appearance, our temporary bodily vessel. Be at peace with all. Do not fall victim or take part in what is to come, or you'll be consumed by it. Protect each other as an extension of creation, but do not empower any form of motive towards protection of the immediate. God will of those who remain at peace during this trial. As I have been instructed, I will continue to help guide the chosen into safety. It is not time to release any further guidance as of now, nor expose my identity. As commanded from the messengers who have delivered, be at peace with all.